everybody. Welcome to Chaos Corner. Today was utter chaos. Whew. But before we get to all of the chaos of the day, remember to go and check out MV Pictures. You can check us out on Instagram, on TikTok, on the Wookabak and the Beakabak. We're not on Snapchat because we're not 8 years old. And we're not on Telegram because we're not an insurrectionist. But other than that, we're good. So you want to follow the Twitter, you want to follow the YouTube, you even want to follow the Facebook page that's dead. Go over there and do so. And if you're a real fan, a true fan of what me and Kim do, then you should pay the $40 a year and become an MV member where you can see all of our movies, TV shows, all of our partners' shows, as well as all these podcasts every single day. Uncut, uncensored. We're a little behind on that part, but we'll get there. All right. So today, I woke up this morning to see some pretty messed up news of Damar Hamlin, a player for the Buffalo Bills that collapsed on the field. Now, we're not going to glorify this, but quoting Don Lemon from CNN this morning, we will show you it just a few times for context. All right. So the first, but honestly, like unlike Don Lemon, I really don't enjoy showing you this. I just feel like if you haven't seen it yet, you're crazy. But here it is in case. No sound on this one because we're pulling it right from the camera lane. And there he goes. He did get hit in the chest, but he took the guy down and he stood back up. And then he goes down. So take that for what you will. Speculation starts now. Everybody in America going to have their opinion on this one. Oh, boy. Just like the House of Representatives, everybody's going to have an opinion on this Damar Hamlin situation. And I hope he's okay. I hope he gets through this so that we can just play politics with this, but not actually have a person dead. But yeah, insinuation is enough, but here we go. I'll break it down for you. If you're a Republican, you see that person standing on the field and you go, hashtag died suddenly. Must be a vaccine death. Must be. Has to be. And you have Charlie Kirk, who was the first on the Twittergrams to push that message out there. And of course, Adam Kinzenberg, or Shitberg, or whatever the fuck we want to call him now, he immediately responded back, threatening the life of Charlie Kirk and saying that he was the worst piece of human garbage ever. That is my dachshund Elaine, and she doesn't know how to be quiet. I feel like she may need to be silenced. I'm going to politically silence her. There's a shush that I'm hearing in the background, but I think that may help the dog. And we're here. So basically, the thing with this Damar Hamlin situation is that if you're a Republican, you immediately assume that he died suddenly because he fell like that. Oh my God, he's 24 years old. There's a heart attack. Blah, 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 blah. Speculation continued throughout the day, and ESPN, ABC, and Good Morning America had the theory laid down for you. It's some sort of weird procedural cardiac arrest that only happens in sports in rare circumstances. That would be fine, except that this would be the very first time that ever happened due to a helmet or another human being. The cardiac arrest that everybody is going for, the thing that they're saying happened to him, the thing that they're speculating happened to this 24-year-old young fella, is something that only happens when a hockey puck or a baseball is slammed directly at your chest at a very high velocity, much higher than anybody can run or put pressure on your chest. So this would be the first time ever that ever happened in football. First time ever that a human being was able to make someone skip a heartbeat and suffer cardiac arrest. And if that is the case, if you're going to go with that, if you're going to say there's no other fishy business going on here with a very healthy adult, then I guess you got to say that whoever that Bengals player is that drove that guy down, he literally is so strong that he is forcing heart attacks upon the defense. Yeah, just think about that. That's what they're trying to tell you to say. Who's they? Who are they? What do they want? We don't know. We don't care. But yeah, basically polarized situation, just like everything else that we're going to talk about today. Because, you know, if you're a Republican, died suddenly. If you're a Democrat, clearly this ESPN guy and this weird thing with a hockey puck that never existed with a person. In either circumstance, there is a lot of holes. And the one question is how a 24-year-old fainted on the field. And that never happened before. I also found it really funny that, you know, all of the liberal media like NPR and stuff went immediately for like, oh my God, this is dangerous. And look at how dangerous the game is. And all of the conservatives immediately jumped on he died suddenly. It was a vaccine. He's in danger every day in football. That would never have made him do that. Blah, 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 blah. It's awful. It's awful. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is the health and safety of the players. And I hope that it all works out. And if it doesn't, you know, catch me watching an XFL game in March. But good luck to the NFL. They wanted to end racism, and a black guy fell on the field. So I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to another story for today. And that story has got to be that the world is ending. Did you know the world is ending? Well, check it. 60 Minutes letting us know the world is going to end.
Extraordinarily high because of a study.
Let me pull that back for you.
We know the rate of extinction is extraordinarily high because of a study of the fossil record by biologist Tony Barnofsky, Ehrlich's Stanford colleague.
The data are rock solid. I don't think you'll find a scientist that will say we're not in an extinction crisis.
Barnofsky's research suggests today's rate of extinction is up to 100 times faster than is typical in the nearly 4 billion year history of life.
We are the dinosaurs.
These peaks represent the few times that life collapsed globally, and the last was the dinosaurs 66 million years ago.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Can we pull that? Hold on. Let's pull this back here. Wait, let's pause this for a second here. Okay. So this mass extinction diagram we got going on here. So extinction rates going up and down, right? And those little dots we got. Oh, I'm sorry for all of you listener onlys, but if you're listening only, then like, you know, get yourself away because like it's time. We're over here actually making stuff happen. So you got to be watching this show. That's the only way you can suffer with us. Anyway, there are 5 dots from 5 mass extinctions, the last one being the dinosaurs, which happened very quickly and drastically, according to them, which leads them to believe that there was an asteroid or something like that. But they're saying that because we're going back up, see that little arrow at the end there? That means that we're going to have an apocalypse. Yep, that's right, people. But guess what? There's a bunch of other little arrows up there where there was no apocalypse. So I don't know. Maybe this is all just bullshit, but let's continue. Let's continue.
There are 5 times in Earth's history where we had mass extinctions. And by mass extinctions, I mean at least 75%, 3/4 of the known species disappearing from the face of the Earth. Now we're witnessing what a lot of people are calling the 6th mass extinction, where the same thing could happen on our watch.
Oh, shit. The world is ending. And since the world is ending, what's Tucker Carlson doing?
As the new year begins, 2023, with everything that's going on in the
2023.
world, it's easy to feel, well, a sense of impending doom. You could spend 5 minutes watching TV or browsing social media, and you would come up with a million reasons why this country is done. So despair is more tempting than ever.
Despair.
But it's not the whole story. And because
Oh,
it's not,
really?
we're taking the next hour to show you the other side.
They're gonna
Yes,
show
this
you the
country
other
has
side.
problems.
What's the other side going to be, guys?
TV show if it didn't. But the truth is that this country also has an awful lot going for it, more than any other country in the world. Great people, deep natural beauty, and a culture-wide love of animals.
Are you kidding me, Tucker Carlson?
So
That's what you're
there's
doing?
Tremendous suffering.
I need that. No, mute him. Excuse me. Let's pull back here. So that guy, he's like, okay, everything is doom and gloom. The world is ending. We're going to give you a full hour of just good news about dogs. So now Tucker Carlson is doing his reports on dogs, people. That's where we're at. That's where we're at in society. And you know where else we're at in society? Some bullshit. Some bullshit going down. Some real grade A, and I mean that in a literal sense, grade A, because these children are getting A's. Some fucking bullshit. If you guys haven't seen this story yet, you need to check this out. Here it is. This is what's going on in Virginia. We have to be fair to all the stupid people, so the smart people aren't allowed to know that they're smart anymore. Here we go.
Only ones outraged. Our next guest is demanding a probe into this high school. Virginia Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears joins us now. Good morning, Lieutenant Governor.
Good morning, Ainsley. Good morning to your viewers.
Well, a lot of people are coming back from break, and they might not have heard this story in the news. I know we've been talking about it on Fox, but this is a really great school. It's an academic school in Fairfax, Virginia, Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology. And there were a group of kids that were going to be nominated for National Merit Awards, which can provide wonderful scholarships.
This has been going on for 5 years, just so you guys know.
And they normally are handed out in September, but these kids found out in the middle of November. Many times it could be too late when you're applying to college. What's your reaction?
It wasn't just that. It was that they
I'm
didn't.
Astounded,
they
and
were
if
trying
these
to hide it from them.
allegations are true, you know, I'm just livid. I am
if they're true,
mad, because imagine,
lady,
parent,
we have been doing this for 2 weeks now.
Daughter,
we know it's true.
Do well. In fact,
you just hear complain, get some TV time.
Burn the midnight oil. Stay in school and study. He said there are doors that are opening for you that were never open for your parents. Be prepared to walk through those doors. And this is what these children are trying to do. And how dare some of these educators keep these children's future in jeopardy like this? This is not the way. This is not America. You don't take the bread out of one child's mouth for another child. We've done that in America. It doesn't work.
I agree with you, lady, but what are you going to do about it? You're the lieutenant governor of the state that it's happening in, and you're just sitting here on Fox News in the morning,
the parents' money,
Fox and Friends,
to hire some
complaining
to have equal outcomes. Equal outcomes in the school. What does that mean? Everybody gets an A? Or is it everybody gets a B because the A students are going to get the B and the C students?
No, everybody gets an A because everybody's an asshole.
Ainsley, I tell you, this feels like
everybody's
New Year,
a.
But
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I'm gonna throw it down. Yeah, that's. Okay, and that's how I feel about that story. Anyway, going on to the next one. And we got... What we got here? What's this going on? What's going on here? Oh, this shit's crazy. Okay, this shit's crazy. Watch. This is what's going on in Ukraine, y'all.
Notre équipe, donc ce qu'a vécu Paul, on a...
What? What? Look at them. That's how they do news in Ukraine. What are they doing? Are they playing like, you are the weakest link? Like, why is there a studio audience at the fucking news broadcast? That is the weirdest shit I have seen in a while. But I will say, Ukraine, nice job. Oh, wait, that wasn't you. That was Russia. Oops, sorry. Never mind. That was pretty scary. Pretty scary for that reporter. But also want to know why the news in Ukraine looks like American Idol. That would be a question for the ages. Are we ready? Is this it? Are we finally here? We're not. We're not here. We're not at our number one story because we're going to tell you all about Florida. Why? Florida's the fucking greatest state ever. Stanley Cup champions, Super Bowl champions. Tampa Bay is awesome, and so is Tom Brady. But also, you know what's awesome? Our governor being sworn in.
Taking the oath of office as the 46th governor of Florida.
Look at that. It's like a boxing match.
And First Lady Casey DeSantis.
Yo, Jeb Bush there. Little tiny hands, Jeb.
Administered by Chief Justice Carlos Muniz.
When Jeb Bush there, you know that's like anti-Trump behavior. Why is Jeb Bush there? I know he used to be governor, but like, why is he there?
Do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend.
That I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government.
The Constitution and government
of the United States and of the state of Florida.
Of the United States and of the state of Florida.
That I am duly qualified.
You see how he doesn't laugh like that freaking lady in Arizona that faked her own election?
Under the Constitution of the state.
And that I will well and faithfully perform.
That I will well and faithfully perform.
Oh yeah, you will.
The duties of governor.
The duties of governor. The duty.
On which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yeah. And that's like the best because he just did it the simple, easy, straight up way, the JFK way. I hope he don't get sniped. That's all I'm saying because like he look an awful lot like a reincarnation of JFK up on there. Like, look at that. Look at that. You telling me that don't look like JFK with the two children waving their hands like that? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You better watch out, Ron DeSantis, because the people don't like that you're giving them all this freedom. But let's check out some of these clips from his amazing speech. Oh, wait, I got him muted. Hold on. Let's check this out. Here we go.
We reject this woke ideology.
Yeah, we reject wokeism. It's like our religion out here.
Not philosophical
we
lunacy.
seek normalcy.
We will not allow reality, facts, and truth to become optional. We will never surrender to the woke mob. Florida
never surrender
is where
woke.
Woke goes to die.
Speaking the truth. Florida's where woke goes to die. That's why we're here. That's why our studio's here. Because we don't like the woke. Because the woke is like way worse than COVID. It's like, just lingers. And just like fucking, give me your pronouns. I'll shave my head and I'll yell at you anyway. Here's some more.
From the Space Coast.
Space Coast. Sun Coast.
From St. John's to St. Lucie.
Fuck yeah.
From the streets of Hialeah to the Speedway in Daytona, from the Okeechobee all the way up to Micanopy. Freedom lives here in our great...
Freedom is in Florida. Goddamn right. If I was in New York, I wouldn't be able to do this podcast because I'd have too tiny of an apartment. They always silencing my free speech that way and shit. It's crazy. All right. So now... Are we ready, y'all? Oh, wait. We got one last story. Okay, so first, this is the killer. The killer, he's being brought in. Check it out.
How you feeling?
Why'd you do it? How you feeling? What'd you do? Why'd you do it?
Idaho? Why did you do it?
Why were you in Idaho? Are you gonna buy any Chips Ahoy? Who are you sponsored by? Who's following you on Instagram? He didn't answer any questions. It's very upsetting. Very, very not like our next story, which is the government. Y'all ready for the chaos of the Chaos Corner? Woo! Yeah! It's a House Republican vote for Speaker. Ooh. But it was kind of like it was a stalemate. Nobody won. Everybody was just like, I don't know, man. It was pretty dry today, guys. So first, let's start with the obvious, which is Lauren Brobart, before all this shit went down, being real excited that finally Nancy Pelosi's metal detectors are being taken down in Congress. She's like, I can finally bring my handgun.
When I arrived in Congress,
Watch, and she gets in the way too. They're like, excuse me, ma'am, can you please get out of the way?
House chambers for members of Congress to go through.
Guys, this is coming
they
out.
are being removed, and we are turning Pelosi's house back into the people's house.
She's like trying to do like a whole thing, and they're like, and the maintenance man's like, excuse me, like I know you want to do a whole speech in front of this fucking metal detector, but I have a job to do. It needs to be back on the back of this truck by 2 p.m. so I can get the fuck out of DC. Ain't got time for your crazy ass shit. But that was how the day started. So it was a little crazy, but not too crazy. Okay. So by now, you probably all know Kevin McCarthy. He had a not so good day today. It was not his day today. He thought it was going to be his day. He was like, I'm going to take back the slogan, okay, and it's going to be like the fucking 1920s. Oh, wait. It is the 1920s now, and it's 1923, and for the first time ever, Congress is deciding to not vote in a Speaker of the House. Uh-oh. So, yeah, maybe that okay slogan from the 1920s was not okay. not a good vibe, guys. Bringing back the times where this shit continued. But it is not the longest one, because the longest one was almost 200 years ago. And it was about 2.5 months long. So this shit will go on forever. Basically, you have to get 213 votes. And ain't nobody getting 213 because Hakeem Jeffries keeps getting 212 because there's only 212 Democrats. And the Republicans can't figure this shit out. And so every time the 5 people on the Republican side vote against Kevin McCarthy, they have to re-vote again. And today they voted 4 times in total. I waited to do this show. We're a little bit later because of it. They finally did recess. It would have been fun to like watch the 5th vote live and been like, yeah, and same thing again. Like we're all going insane. But this is how this shit went down. So first, I'm going to show you, this is Matt Gaetz. He is the number 1 person opposing. He's also a Florida rep, but this is the number 1 person opposing Kevin McCarthy's bid on the Republican side. Not hearing that audio.
At this moment,
let's pull it back. Here we go.
Those of us who will not be voting for Kevin McCarthy today take no joy in this discomfort that this moment has brought. But if you want to drain the swamp, you cannot put the biggest alligator in charge of the exercise. I'm a Florida man and I know of what I speak. We offered Kevin McCarthy terms last evening that he rejected. We sought a vote in the first quarter of the 118th Congress on term limits. He refused. We wanted a budget from the Republican study committee that balances on the floor in the first quarter. He refused. We wanted the border plan that the Texas delegation put together on the floor. He refused. And it is true that we struggle with trust with Mr. McCarthy, because time and again, his viewpoints, his positions, they shift like sands underneath you. Even Kevin McCarthy's own mentor recently said that the lies always change. And Mr. McCarthy is not only responsive to pressure from the right. Time and again, he has failed to achieve the goals that we seek on spending and on the fight. For months, we have been asking Mr. McCarthy for his battle plan. How do we ensure that we stand up for folks in the military who feel like they're being purged? How do we ensure that if there is the passage of a farm bill, it includes things like work requirements? And all we got was a handful of howdy and a mouthful of much obliged. So we do not want to be here at this moment. We would prefer to have a unity of purpose, but we will not continue to allow the uniparty to run this town without a fight.
Is that a separate flash
between Nancy Pelosi and her California delegation mate that seeks the gavel?
Somebody's dying in the background coughing COVID.
Broken.
I think it's one of them people with the mask still on.
Who has acknowledged in Mr. McCarthy that the town has broken, and he has been a part of that process for many years.
Sir, this is not 1930s. Again, another sign of the 1920s. That guy with the separate flash on his camera, taking a photo from a camera too. It's strange. Like nobody even uses like a camera anymore, and I'm pretty sure that's just like a 60D, and then like a wireless flash, and he got that mustache. I don't understand. But that's the most important thing about that is the man in the background, clearly from a different era. And okay, so it starts there. Matt Gaetz makes that comment. Next up, Lauren Brobart.
Said from the beginning that my hard line was the motion to vacate. Single member motion to vacate. You cannot demand more responsibility and less accountability. And Kevin McCarthy was taking the path of Nancy Pelosi and following her precedents with the motion to vacate. We were just told when we left this door, we will give you single member motion to vacate. Just today. That was the starting point for negotiations. That was the starting point to everything that we are wanting to transform the way Washington, D.C. operates. If you go to the American people and ask them if Congress is doing a good job, if they like the way things are run in Washington, D.C., no. You're probably going to get a big hell no. We want to change the way things are done here. We didn't offer up a personal wish list. We were told to provide lists of what members need to be seated on what committees. And we did exactly that. And then there were amazing items that were listed as well for our border security, for term limits. Just bring the bill to the floor so we can have a vote on term limits. That's what the majority of Americans want to see in Congress.
Absolutely.
We
want to see term limits.
Any amendment that reduces the national debt needs to be made in order. This is not a personal wish list. This is not something that is unreasonable. This is just for the American people. This is fair for the American people. And so now here we are being sworn at instead of being sworn in.
Ooh, sworn at instead of sworn in.
And we could have had this solved months ago.
No, that was a good last line, lady.
Every day to unify the Republican Party for the American people. And yesterday we had a deal that was not a selfish deal in any way for Kevin McCarthy to get him the gavel on the first ballot, and he eagerly dismissed us.
Those of us who will not be voting for Kevin McCarthy today take no joy.
So we're going back into the Matt Gaetz there. But interesting, because what she just said there is that this all could have been avoided. That her, as well as Matt Gaetz and the other 19 that ended up going against him, were ready to accept a deal, and that Kevin McCarthy rejected it. So let's see then, how does Margie Taylor Greene, the Georgia Rip, with the construction business and all that West, you'd think she'd be on the Matt Gaetz, Lauren Brobart side, that radical independent side. But somehow, for some reason, she's defending Mr. Californian Kevin McCarthy with his OK campaign. OK for McCarthy, only Kevin. And that's when we all went on the back of the railway and the man in the hipster mustache took our photo. All right. So here's Margie Taylor Greene, MTG. Looks like, some Machine Gun Kelly shit. Here we go. This is what she's saying.
Negotiating, talking, debating back and forth in our conference, trying to come to a really good rules package, and it's amazing. As a matter of fact, I'll quote Matt Gaetz. He said it's exquisite. That's what he said on our conference call on Sunday. But in that conference
she's saying something different. She's saying that Matt Gaetz agreed. Thought it was an exquisite rules package.
In fact, that went in last night and were demanding positions for themselves. Demanding gavel positions, demanding
oh, wait, hold on. Pull that up. Wait. So remember, Lauren Brobart had said that there was a deal that they offered last night to Kevin McCarthy, and he would be the speaker, and that'd be it. She just said that deal last night So there's a deal on Sunday. Here we go.
Negotiating, talking, debating back and forth in our conference, trying to come to a really good rules package, and it's amazing. As a matter of fact, I'll quote Matt Gaetz. He said it's exquisite. That's what he said on our conference call on Sunday.
Okay, conference call on Sunday. So they made a deal on Sunday, or they thought that they made a deal on Sunday based on the rules package. And the rules package, guys, is when you can basically like, oh, we want to be able to vote you out with only 5 members. Oh, like your committees do these certain things. Basically just like, how are we able to legislate you as an individual, Kevin McCarthy, and your people if we let you in charge? And they apparently agreed on that rules package and thought that they were done. And that was on Sunday. And according to MTG, Matt Gaetz was on board. But then there's a new deal that happened last night, and here's where she mentions that second one. And this is what Lauren Brobart was talking about, saying that second deal last night, they could have had a Kevin McCarthy on the first vote, which means it's still probably not out of the question. So here we go.
But in that conference meeting there, we found out that there were several members, 3 in fact, that went in last night and were demanding positions for themselves, demanding gavel positions, demanding subcommittees, demanding for people to be taken off committees and people to be put on committees. Three Republicans out of our 222. I want you all to know I have not done that for myself. The only thing I have done is debate and request and argue amongst my peers for the right things for the rules package and for our agenda for the American people. And that's the only thing I've done. I haven't asked for one thing for myself, and I'm the only Republican that has 0 committees. So you would think I would be the one in there asking for something, but I haven't done that. But I find out that it's my Freedom Caucus colleagues and my supposed friends that went and did that, and they asked nothing for me. Nothing. That's what I found out in there. I'm furious. Well, let me tell you something. While the conservatives that the base supports and believes in, let me remind everyone, they're not perfect either. Scott Perry, before his general election, refused to vote against the bill that was all about the gay marriage bill. He refused to vote against it. He voted for it. Then when it came back around after his election, he was able to vote against it. Conservatives would not like that. Let me remind everyone this. Matt Gaetz, who has compared Kevin McCarthy to Paul Ryan, my friend Matt Gaetz, he supported Paul Ryan almost more than anyone. It's still on his social media. As a matter of fact, his first vote.
She calling out everyone right here. I am for this.
Cheered him on
wow.
For a year and a half or more when people like me were at home furious at Paul Ryan's speakership because it wasn't passing the MAGA agenda that we all supported. Chip Roy, he refused to object on January 6th. That's not what our base wanted. He also set out the vote for the January 6th committee.
Funny.
There's many more. Bob Good, $2 million from Kevin McCarthy to get elected. Lauren Boebert, under $2 million from Kevin McCarthy to get elected. Many more people have taken Kevin McCarthy's money to get elected, and then there's a few of them that don't want to support him as speaker. So imagine that. This is not anything about the country. This is all about never Kevin. They just don't like Kevin McCarthy. And you cannot be successful in anything if you aren't able to walk in a room, make what you want, and get a deal done, and then walk away with the W and get to work and not worry about who you like and who you don't like. This is not about prom king. This is not about a pastor. This is about electing a person to sit in the speaker chair so that we can all get to work.
Holy shit, she is killing it. She should be the damn speaker.
Let me remind everyone.
Woman speaker, take it.
218 votes to get something passed. That means all of us are powerful, every single faction in the Republican Party.
Right.
So there's not going to be a tiny little group that is going to demand their way because they want subcommittee chairs and they want certain power positions. That is not how this works. And that is the worst thing they could do for the country. And I'm furious over it, and I'm going to...
Damn. Okay, so if you guys... okay, so basically what we've learned so far is... Matt Gaetz is the center focus of the no, of the never McCarthy, the NK. And he has said, like, never, never. And Laura Brobart has went along with it. And apparently, these are the Freedom Caucus. So those radicals, those people that were insurrecting the government and all that crap. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I am really bad at saying her name, but I'm going to have to fix that because I am a fan now, is saying, enough with the horse shit, people. The only reason you guys are still holding out is because you didn't get favors. Absolute and utter favors. And she's also calling out the fact that no one's given her a favor. And why are they not giving her a favor? Probably because she's canceled. Probably because if you put her on any committee, all of the media, all of the left will immediately attack everything that you do. And she's willing to sit here and work with everybody still. Even though she's not allowed to even hold any kind of power position, though she holds a lot of weight with the public, she holds a lot of weight with the voting public of the Republican Party right now. But she's not allowed to say a damn word. She's also like one of the only people that's ever like really supported or went towards America First and Nick Fuentes. So again, getting pushed out because of the evangelical Christian base. And she's okay with it. She's tolerable with it. She even knows that some people don't like Kevin McCarthy. She probably doesn't even like Kevin McCarthy. But she's not sitting in the 11th hour last night like Lauren Brobart and Matt Gaetz begging for subcommittees for themselves. It sounds like for themselves. Because at the end of the day, Lauren Brobart let it slip, said it right on there on the air. If they would have taken the deal last night, Kevin McCarthy would be speaker, which means that they're not really a never Kevin group here. They're not really like, oh man, we got to make sure this guy doesn't get it. They wanted more power, and they thought they could get it through complaints at the last second. When people like Marjorie Taylor Greene are being canceled and pushed out and not allowed to do any kind of committee work, and she's still trying to reach across the aisle inside this and figure it out. So, very interesting, very shocking to hear that Georgia rep is doing that with everything that you see about her. But it's also this whole story is extremely interesting because no one gives a shit about the Democrats. So when you turn on CNN or you turn on Newsmax or News Nation or MSNBC or Fox, no matter what you're turning on, it's all about the real personalities of the Republican Party. We're no longer sitting here saying they're all insurrectionists, they're all evil, they're all this, they're all that. Well, except for, one Jake Tapper. Where's that clip? I got that Jake Tapper clip. Where's that one at? Is this it? Is this the one?
If you go to Kevin McCarthy's Twitter page right now.
Yeah, this is great, guys. Check this out. This is Jake Tapper on CNN and what he's worried about today.
Go to Kevin McCarthy's Twitter page right now.
Go into Kevin McCarthy's Twitter.
The tweet he wants everyone to see. I'm going to... hold on one second. Let's watch this. His pinned tweet is about Hunter Biden. That's the point I wanted to make. Like, he's all in on this MAGA business. But now Jim Jordan is going to say something, and he has 6 votes.
So, again, like most people, most of the speculation you see on CNN, you see from other reporters, you see from other news channels, they're all talking about the same thing. They're all trying to break it down, understand what's really going on, why there's this implosion happening on the House floor. But Jake Tapper over here being like, did you see Kevin McCarthy's tweets are about Hunter Biden? Like anybody gives a damn. But so let's see how this all played out, okay? So those 3 people spoke. Kevin McCarthy spoke. They went to the Senate floor and voted. And Kevin McCarthy did not get enough votes on the first vote, obviously. On the first vote, there was 19 defectors. And those people all voted just for random personal choices. They wanted it to be recorded, who they wanted, and they all just voted for whoever they thought would be best. That sounds like a good start to figuring out who should be leader. Instead of lobbying and campaigning and spending money inside of doing your job, maybe just show up at the top of the new year and say, we're all Republicans. This is the guy I like. And that seems to be what 19 members of the Republican Party did on that first vote. But the rest of them decided they all needed to vote for Kevin McCarthy, regardless of whether they liked him or not, or controversy, etc. At this point, I don't even understand why you would vote for Kevin McCarthy, because it's just extremely controversial. But they all did. 19 didn't. And then they went back up. And so on that second one, we get Jim Jeffries first, and he's gonna nominate someone.
If you go to Kevin McCarthy's Twitter page
that's not
right
it.
now.
So we're gonna pull. I believe this is it.
Nominate Kevin McCarthy for Speaker of the House.
So Jim Jordan nominates Kevin McCarthy for Speaker of the House on the second vote. Immediately, Matt Gaetz steps up and states a nominee.
Nominating Jim Jordan.
Nominates Jim Jordan,
is humble,
who just was nominated.
Today, humble to a fault.
Kevin McCarthy.
Maybe the right person for the job of Speaker of the House isn't someone who wants it so bad. Maybe the right person for the job of Speaker of the House isn't someone who has sold shares of themselves for more than a decade to get it.
I agree with that. CNN was agreeing with that. The sold shares of themselves for over a decade. That comment lived on throughout the rest of the day and throughout the rest of the vote. So they decided to do that second vote. And they finished that second vote. And in that second vote, they had 19, and they all voted for Jim Jordan that time. So we had 19 votes for Jim Jordan, same amount for Kevin, same amount for Hakeem Jeffries, the Republican or the Democratic nominee, and no one reached the 218. And so then we have here.
So this is what the chamber looks like when we're actually debating
Texas
and the
reps
bodies are in the chairs.
Coming forward.
How many times have we been down here giving speeches and there's not a soul in the chamber? Yet this is what it takes to get 435 people in the chamber.
Chip Roy, now remember.
And have an actual debate.
Here's the thing. Remember that in that Marjorie Taylor Greene comment again, she was talking about how Matt Gaetz and Chip Roy did messed up things as well that they're now campaigning on against Kevin McCarthy. So in the fact of Matt Gaetz, it was the fact that he had voted for years for Matt Ryan while she was sitting at home, and he was not for the America First agenda and the MAGA agenda to start with. And then you got Chip Roy over here from Texas, and what she was commenting about him, the way that she was throwing him under the rug, was by saying that Chip Roy didn't vote against the 9/11 or the January 6th commission, and basically was supporting the narrative that the people that walked in the Capitol were insurrectionists. So didn't stand by the true Republican public at first. So both of those members have their own faults, but I do like what Chip Roy says here in the rest of it and what he says after the second vote. So let's take this back. Let's check out the full clip here of what he says.
So this is what the chamber looks like when we're actually debating and the bodies are in the chairs. How many times have we been down here giving speeches and there's not a soul in the chamber? Yet this is what it takes to get 435 people in the chamber and have an actual debate. The American people are watching, and that's a good thing. What we're doing is exercising our rights to vote and have a debate and have a discussion about the future of this country through the decision of choosing a speaker. This is not personal. It's not. This is about the future of the country. This is about the direction of the country. American people who are looking at this body and wondering why we can pass $1.7 trillion bills that are unpaid for. They can just slide in $45 billion for Ukraine but not pay for it. $40 billion for emergency spending and not pay for it. 10% increase in defense spending, 6% increase in non-defense spending and not pay for it. And not do a thing except put language in a bill that prohibits our ability to use the money to secure the border. That bill gets rammed through, and we know exactly how it gets rammed through, because the defense world and the non-defense world come together and say, you know what? We're going to cut a deal, and we'll all go to the mics, and we're all going to give speeches, and the American people are the big losers. That's what happens.
Thank you. Thank you, Chip Roy.
The
that
Rules
is true.
Committee sits up there and passes a bill.
Name a person that actually thinks that was a good bill that we should have spent $1.7 trillion. Name a person that thinks that that's true.
2016. The former leader and I have discussed this right here. That's true. But the fact is, this place has to change. It has to change. And the change comes by either adopting rules and procedures that will make us actually do our job, or it comes from leadership. And people ask me, what do you want? I want the tools, or I want the leadership to stop the swamp from running over the average American every single day.
Every time you see this, it's like, okay, yes. So what are we doing? Yes, term limits.
This.
Yes, fucking swamp. Yes.
Until we figure out
everyone's
how to stop
saying
spending
yes.
Money we don't have.
So maybe it's only 19.
I don't want any more empty promises. I don't want any more.
But we all agree
don't worry,
as a public.
trust us, we'll do it.
As the Republic, we agree.
Exercise our rights as member of this body to stand up for the American people.
I don't see anyone else. Just the lobbyists carrying about the other way.
When we use our men and women in uniform in defense and wrap ourselves around that and then spend more money that we don't have, weakening that defense, weakening our country in the process. But that's what we just did.
There's one clap.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking for us to come together and figure out how to solve these problems.
Awful.
And to do that, I'm going to do what I did my very first act as a member of Congress, or as a congressman-elect, and nominate Jim Jordan for Speaker. Now, Jim has said he doesn't want that nomination, and Jim has been down here nominating Kevin, and I respect that. And again, I have no personal animus towards Kevin. And I've worked for the last 2 months to try to figure out how to get the rules to make this place better, and we've made progress. But we do not have the tools or the leadership yet to stop the swamp from rolling over the American people. Jim has been doing it. He has a track record of doing it. And for those reasons, I am nominating Jim Jordan from Ohio for Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Okay, so then that was the third vote. And so they went back again to vote. And guess what happened, guys? Again, just 19 voted for Jim Jordan. And we got the same vote for all three on the third vote again. So now we're at true insanity, because insanity is doing the same thing twice and expecting us to different results. So now everyone in Congress on the House side is the definition of insanity currently. So now we're going to go to a fourth vote. I hope we don't have the same vote or we'd be insane. But that's when we had a defector. We had our number one defector, someone who wanted to be on Fox News tonight. We got 20 now. Here he is, number 20.
Why did you vote for Jim Jordan? I thought you were for Kevin McCarthy.
Oh. Why did you vote?
Why did you vote for Jim Jordan? I thought you were for Kevin McCarthy.
Well, look, I voted for Kevin on the first two ballots, and it's just not clear that he has the votes. It's pretty clear now, and it's getting tougher in that room. Look, do I think Kevin has an ability to maybe get there? Yeah, but there's a lot of work to be done, and I think just if you're going to ask,
I just wanted to talk on Fox Business tonight
again to try to wear people down, I think it actually has the opposite effect. My view has been
Brian Donalds, and guess what? Brian Donalds is from Florida. Woo! Defectors from Florida.
Go back to the floor. When we know we have
first it was Gates leading the way,
but it's not
on a third ballot. We get more Florida. We get more Florida.
So we should not
Jim
be on the
Jordan
floor voting. That is my point, and that's where I think we should be going. And with respect to Jim Jordan, I think Jim will make actually a tremendous speaker.
I don't know why we're against Jim Jordan.
Person to represent House Republicans.
Ohio, Middle America, wants to drain the swamp. Term limits. Oh wait, maybe that's why we're against Jim Jordan, because we want that billion-dollar paycheck like Joe Biden while we investigate his ass.
But he nominated
sounds really
McCarthy
stupid,
on the second
pretty
ballot.
hypocritical.
That Jim is really running. I mean, listen, Byron, you are a great friend. You're a great friend of the show. I'm just concerned, not for you per se, but for some others, this is about personalities
cancel culture
and
bullshit.
not about policies. because I think Kevin McCarthy is certainly a conservative record, who's brought the Republican House up the last 2 cycles.
I'm
So
concerned
sure
that
I
if
see
you
the
keep
case
doing
against
this,
him.
you're going to
And he's
end
given
up
you, I don't know if he's
being
given it to
pushed
you what
out,
your
sir.
request was, but he has acceded to at least one demand, and that is with 5 Republican votes on the floor, they'll vacate the chair and have a vote of no confidence. So I just, you tell me, Byron, what's the case against McCarthy at this point?
Well, I haven't asked Kevin for anything. Like I said, I voted for him on the first 2 ballots. But at the end of the day, you got to close the deal. I mean, this is nothing
It's exactly
new.
it.
There's
It's
been
exactly it.
disagreements
I
about
agree with this
could
guy.
he get
Brian
to
Donald's
218
killing it
votes
from
on the
Florida.
floor for 2 months now. And so the biggest issue is, if you can't close this deal, at what point do members start looking elsewhere?
You gotta
Because we do have to organize Congress. We do have to elect the Speaker of the House. But you have to have 218 votes. It's not just about having a majority of the Republican conference.
Yeah.
It's having a majority of the committee of the whole, which is the full body. So you have to get there. And so I think right now he's not there. So you have to start looking at alternatives. Look, when I was in business, if you couldn't get the deal done, you got to go look somewhere else. That's not a personal slight against Kevin McCarthy. That's the reality of what's unfolding on the House floor right now. I believe we should be taking a recess to go and speak as members and figure this thing out and then come back in and have another round of ballots. But to continuously vote after vote after vote like this is not, I think, in the best interest of the Republican conference right now.
No, it is not. Okay, so after 3 votes, and we get the defector, okay? And he's like, I voted against Kevin McCarthy because I voted for him twice. I didn't ask for anything from the guy, and he couldn't get it done. Deal not done. Deal not served. I would love to go home tonight, sir, so I'm voting for Jim Jordan. Votes for Jim Jordan, gets on Fox News, says, hey, I think we should talk. We should, do something, recess, something. That's not what Kevin McCarthy wants. Kevin McCarthy is the true definition of an insanity because he goes for another freaking vote. And yet again, Kevin McCarthy does not get the votes that he wants because all it would take is 5, and we're now going from 19 to 19 in unification towards Jim Jordan to 20, and now I think 20 or 21 on that 4th vote, but it didn't really matter because all that mattered was that, again, Kevin McCarthy can't be speaker with more than 5. I don't know why we kept voting, but eventually the last thing that was said on the night.
Congressman Chip Roy, who is just joining us. Congressman, thank you for...
Oh, wait, that's Chip Roy afterwards. Where's the end of this thing? I think this thing ends... There's an end video. There's a recess video. Where's that at?
I rise to nominate Kevin McCarthy for Speaker of the House.
Kevin McCarthy. I don't think I have it, guys. For some reason, it didn't pull up. So let's do some speculation here. Okay, so we did that 4th vote, and then after that 4th vote, there was a request for recess until tomorrow at noon, to which everyone in all of the House shouted, yay! And not a single peep for a nay on continuing to debate. So there was no more debate to be had. They were moving on, and we will see you tomorrow at noon with more of it. But yeah, here's where we stand, okay? So we had 4 votes. Kevin McCarthy still doesn't have it. We knew from Lauren Brobart that if they just gave them favors, gave Matt Gaetz favors, Lauren Brobart favors, etc., apparently they would have been able to get Kevin McCarthy in. Lauren Brobart, Matt Gaetz, this Chaz guy or whatever the hell his name is, the Texas guy, all of them are claiming that the reason they're doing this is for the American people, because of bills like the 1.7 trillion, because they feel that in these guidelines and rules for the new speaker, we should be setting term limits for the House. We should be making sure that, you can't be on committees too long. You can't get paid too much money. Basically, like the swamp. And I think they keep saying that because, that leans them towards that Trumpism. Everyone loving that Trump. loving that Trump with the drain the swamp. And so if they keep screaming drain the swamp, people won't be mad at them on the Trump side, right? But you got Marjorie Taylor Greene telling the God honest truth about the whole situation, which is it seems like you all want favors. This was never really about setting term limits. This is never really about getting the swamp drained. And I am still holding on to that. I don't think the swamp's going to get drained. I don't think we're going to get term limits out of this situation. I think what's going to happen here is either Kevin McCarthy's going to finally fold at some point, and they're going to move towards another candidate. The person predicted by a lot of the centrists, a lot of the left, is that it will be Steve Scalia. That is the Louisiana rep. He is a baller. I like him. I think it would be a solid move. He's more centrist again, and they're worried about the centrist behaviors of the people that are solidly okay. Only Kevin. Only Kevin. Only Kevin. Kind of like Meet Kevin, you know, that guy, the finance guy. So it's like only Kevin. This is the only Kevin guy now. But we'll see tomorrow what happens, because apparently what's the chess match situation is that Steve Scalia will be presented in replacement of Kevin McCarthy once he finally gives this up, and that the rest of them will just say okay to that, regardless of what the situation is, and call it a win for themselves. But I find it very ironic, isn't it ironic, that these people are shouting at the top of their lungs saying that they want term limits and they need these things like term limits and draining the swamp. And I don't think we're ever really going to get that part of the equation, because I don't think they really want to drain the swamp, because they're part of the goddamn swamp. And when you're in the swamp, you don't want to drain it, you know? They're basically all claiming to be Jesus. They're like, I'm not here for the money. Okay. As the people on the other side are saying that you're only here for favors. So I don't know who to believe anymore. We'll see if Steve Scalia gets placed in the conversation tomorrow. Otherwise, it'll just keep being more and more insanity as Kevin McCarthy refuses to give up, asks for another vote and another vote and another vote. How exhausting that is. I have one more scenario for you, okay? Here's what I think would be baller as shit, okay? Talking to you, AOC. If the far left, the radical left, is so sick of voting and they want everyone to see them as the true center, as the people that saved the day, they could secretly just vote for Kevin McCarthy on one of these votes and throw him over 218. You don't have to vote on party line. I know we're living in 2023 where that's never going to happen. You got to stay devoted to your side, as we talked about with Damar Hamlin. You know, you either died suddenly or ESPN guy's right. It was a hockey puck in the middle of a football game. Like, either way, you got to just take your side. And that's what's not interesting about this whole situation, is that everybody's like, it hasn't happened in 100 years. Oh, my God, look what happened here. Oh, my God, what if they go till March? What if they go longer? That would be forever. We've never seen that happen before. And it's like, we've only fucking been alive as a country for like, what, 250 years, some shit like that? So, like, calm the hell down, acting like this is unprecedented. Like Joe Rogan talking about, like, the Younger Dryas and, like, 200,000 years ago and these saber-tooth tigers and shit. And y'all over here being like, oh my God, in all of history, American history, the last 200 years. It's like, it just, when you see it in perspective, it's complete bullshit. And yeah. So more on Kevin McCarthy's bad day, because I think he's going to have another bad day tomorrow. Unless you give some money to us. That could be a situation. Matt Gaetz and Lauren Brobart could just get paid off here and just call it a day. But it would be hilarious if at the end of the day somebody was honest here and we actually were going to drain the swamp. We got some term limits out of this situation. We got some pay scale deductions. We got some spending deductions for these committees. Anything to put us on a goddamn budget to start this year would be nice. But I think they're all just claiming to be Jesus when they're all after themselves. So Steve Scalia may be the solution, or we may just be in utter chaos for 2 to 3 months while they complain about this. But either way, we'll be back here tomorrow night, checking it all out. Maybe we'll watch some of it live. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how many votes Kevin McCarthy wants to put us through tomorrow. But either way, I don't think it's gonna work out for him at this point. It's kind of sad because people are starting to give up, and I don't know if it'll turn back for him. Hey. Generic roadcaster music. I'm Alex Wagner, the real Alex Wagner. This is the daily podcast, Chaos Corner, where we bring you all the news from all the chaos, like the vote today. It was chaos. It was utter chaos. Remember, you can follow us at MV Pictures on all the platforms, the Rumble, the YouTube, the TikTok, the Twitter, the everything. Just MV Pictures. And if you really, really love us, $40 a year, just a year. All the content, all the movies, all the shows.
I will see you tomorrow. Kevin McCarthy is a dildo.